We've entered the period of the 9 days where the Shulchan Aruch says for Ashkenazim, even for Sfardim, that we don't eat meat or drink wine. The Shulchan Aruch says, Yesh mi she'omer she'noegin l'shaloi lechol basar b'yomim haniskarim. Of course, the Shulchan Aruch is talking about the Shavua Shechal B'y Tishba, which we don't have. There is no Shavua Shechal B'y Tishba this year. But he says it's mutter b'tavshil sh'nisbashel b'y basar. Then the Rabbi adds, noegin lahachmir, we're machmir, first of all, the whole 9 days, and second of all, we don't drink wine of Havdalah, etc. So the Mishnah Berurah explains that the prohibition of eating meat during the 9 days is talking about meat, as opposed to Fleishig. So, for instance, if you made some lasagna in a Fleishig pot on purpose or by accident, it doesn't make a difference. It might be Fleishigs, it might be Fleishigs, that's a different series, but it's not Asur on the 9 days, because the 9 days has to do with Aveilus. So if you made Fleishigs, it's not Asur. What if you could actually taste the Fleishigs in it? So the Mishnah Berurah says that if it's no Saint Tab, so then it's a problem. The minute that you can taste the Fleishigs in it, which means in our language that you don't have a bittul shishim, you don't have 60 times as much, that's what's mevatel the tab. So the minute you can taste the Fleishigs, it's Asur. If you can't taste the Fleishigs, it's mutter. The Aruch HaShulchan right here in the same halacha says that he argues with the Mishnah Berurah. And he says it doesn't make any difference whether you taste the Fleishigs or you don't taste the Fleishigs. That all has to do with your Yeridea. Over here, you're not allowed to eat meat. It's meat. You can't eat a hot dog. You can't eat a piece of chicken. That's what you can't do. But it is not just that it's not Fleishigs. The whole chiddush, he says, of noisei tab, that tab ki ikr, that something tastes Fleishigs, it is Fleishigs, doesn't apply to the 9 days at all. So according to the Aruch HaShulchan, even if it tastes Fleishigs, you're allowed to do it. And to the question, as long as it's not a piece of meat. But he talks about even a rotev of basar, it's mutter. Halacha l'maisa, we paskin that we don't do like the Aruch HaShulchan unless it's a shas hatzchak, meaning that we paskin, most rabbanim will paskin that if somebody's a chola, if somebody's a zaken, and they need to have the protein of meat, so the way to do it is like the Aruch HaShulchan. So you'll eat something very, very Fleishigs, but not actually a piece of meat. I just want to explain for a moment what are they arguing about? It's just their feeling about the 9 days. It's a very deep argument based in the Minhag Avraham, because the question is, why don't we eat meat during the 9 days? So the answer is because we were makabel a neder. It's kilo a neder. That's what the Minhag Avraham says. Not to eat meat during the 9 days. It was Klal Yisrael was makabel this neder, and obviously Sephardic Jewry was not makabel this neder. But the Rabbi says this is our minhag, and it has a din of a neder. The Gemara says before that if koinem alai basar la'achila, that if I make a neder, I'm not going to eat any basar. For whatever reason, I'm going to be a vegetarian. I make a neder, I'm not going to eat any basar. Mutter berotev. So it's the Gemara. So before it's mutter berotev. You're allowed to eat soup. Because when you say a neder, the lashon neder of basar means basar. It means to say I'm not going to eat a steak. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to eat some chicken soup. That's what the Gemara says. Comes the shach in Yeridea, I think it's Pe'al. Comes the shach in Yeridea, he says, yeah, but nowadays the lashon has changed, and when we say koinem alai basar, it also means to include chicken soup. It also means the soup in it and anything that has a tam basar. And this is actually a machlekes Aruch HaShulchan and Mishnah Berurah. Whether this Klal Yisrael is makabel, it's like Nadar. Whether when we're makabel not to eat meat, what did we mean with that? We said, okay, we want to be masavel on Yerushalayim. We want to remember Yerushalayim. We're going to do something to remember. There used to be karbanos, and there used to be all the beautiful reich nichoach in Yerushalayim. So we're not going to eat meat. But what does that sort of community neder include? This is the machlekes of Mishnah Berurah and the Aruch HaShulchan. Does it include a shtickle flesh, like literally meat, or does it include anything that has a tam of meat? It does not include, according to anybody, because it's a neder, not a halacha of basar, it does not include Fleishigs. It does not include something that even makes you Fleishigs. That it doesn't include. So if you have something from Shabbos, let's say, which is becheskas b'sari, a lot of people have that today. right? Your potatoes, or whatever. It's becheskas b'sari, cooked it with flesh, this and that. So you're allowed to eat it today because you might become fleishig, so you got to be careful. But you're allowed to eat it today because that's not within the gzera of the 9 days.